What's goody? It's your host Jay Rose as always, and it is currently 7:26 a.m. I have not gotten a lick of sleep. Damn, you could see the bags under my eyes a little bit. Maybe I'm geeking, but I haven't gotten a lick of sleep, so I was like, hey, let's talk some early morning hoops, you know what I mean, before I crash in the middle of the day and end up not recording this video at all. So welcome to the BagTalk Podcast. I haven't recorded a pod in a minute. A lot of people have been asking me about the pod, actually. Even people that watch my regular videos, regular content, they're still like, yo, you haven't recorded a podcast in a while. And you know, that's facts. That's facts. So here we are today with a podcast. Over 90% of the people that watch my content are not subscribed. So if you're messing with the videos, please hit that sub button and the noti bell so you'll get notified every time I upload. But let's get back to the hoops. And the first subject that I wanted to get into is, should your team hit the panic button? And honestly, thinking of this, I started off with the Kings a couple weeks back, and I was going to make a video about this just specifically for the Kings. And since then, the Kings have actually been pretty good. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've been winning a lot of games. They've been getting a lot of decent dubs. They're not one of the worst teams in the West anymore. They're in the play-in right now, actually. So we're not going to do that team. We're going to do my team instead. We're going to do the Dallas Mavericks. So the Dallas Mavericks are 25-21. They're 4-6 in their last 10. Derek Lively is out for 2 to 3 months. Luka Doncic is out until probably late February, early March. They said beginning of the All-Star break, but I highly doubt it. And I also don't think that they should do that, to be completely frank. So when do we hit the panic button? Should we hit the panic button right now is the real question. And I don't think we should. I think we have to give it a couple more weeks. I think the goal for the Mavs right now should be trying to stay afloat with Luka not playing, which is really, really hard to do when every other day we got a player going out. Like Gaff got hurt, Gaff comes back, D-Live goes out, Kyrie comes back, now Clay is out, and Q Grimes be out. Najee Marshall, he's been dealing with illnesses the whole season, and Jaden Hardy's out now. Dante Exum has gotten no minutes since the year started because he got surgery, and we don't know when he's coming back. So it's just been a lot of stuff going on with the Mavericks this season. It's been a really up and down year. There's a lot of talk about how this team was so much better without Luka playing for a stretch of the season, and now that we're like really deep into the queue and we're getting into the nitty gritty of the schedule, this is probably the toughest run of the schedule we've had since the year started, and we had to do a lot of it without Kyrie and without Luka. So it just wasn't a great run for us. We realistically, if healthy, we should be around where the Rockets are at. So being like a 7th seed right now is not really the expectations that I had for this season and most Maverick fans had for this season. And you know, that sucks. But I don't think it's necessarily time to panic yet. I think we have a little more time. We should give the team a little more time. Let them get some more reps, but we have to stay above water. We have to at least stay 500 until Luka comes back. And then from that point on, that would be us fighting for our playoff spot to really see where we match up with the rest of the league, because I think we're one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And even with all that being said, we still beat OKC with no Luka 3 times this year. We beat them in the season series 3-1. Let's get it. Mavs still the Thunder big bro. So I love that. Another team I want to get into. This is another Western Conference team, so I'm going to pick an Eastern Conference one after this one. But the Warriors. Is it time for the Warriors to hit the panic button? And the answer might be yes. I made a video earlier in the year talking about how dangerous they looked. And since then, it's been a completely different story. Like, they legitimately had 12 guys coming into the game every night, and everyone was producing. They had Lindy Waters off the bench, who I'm sure most of y'all don't even know who that is. He was getting buckets. They had Buddy Hield coming in, getting buckets. They just had a bunch of people coming in to the game that usually wouldn't get rotational minutes, and they were hooping. Today, they can't get anybody to hoop. To be honest, it's just, if Steph's not playing well, they're probably not going to win. And if Steph is playing well, he's probably going to start getting doubled at half court, and they need somebody. Point blank period. They need somebody. They need a confident ball handler and scorer. And also the fact that, like, Steph, who's not a very vocal person, at least, like, you know, speaking out about things that are going wrong. I don't think that's something that we expect Steph to do too often. So the fact that he's already multiple times this season said that we need help, I'm not going to sit here and play losing games. If you think that I'm just playing basketball just to play basketball and I'm not trying to win, you're crazy. I think that's an issue. If you're the front office, I would be panicking just a little bit. I genuinely don't think that Steph Curry would want to end his career anywhere else but Golden State, but I've said that about a lot of people. At this point, though, he is 35, 36 years old, so it's a little bit different. Like when Westbrook got traded off the Thunder, I was like, whoa, dude, whoa. That was back in 2019, 2020 at this point. So that's very far in the past. Steph Curry has been on this team for so long, and I just really can't realistically see him leaving, but I would love if he did. And I would love if he put more pressure on the front office to make them think that he would, because they're just not making good moves. And I feel like this all started a couple years ago with the Draymond situation. It just started unraveling from there. You had a nice young piece who he was dynamic in scoring. He was a ball handler. He was a little bit sloppy. But you know who else was like that when they came into the league? Steph Curry. So I think trading away Jordan Poole was a crazy mistake, especially if the situation was we have turmoil in our locker room now, so it got to be Jordan Poole or Draymond. The fact that Draymond is still on this roster is crazy to me. And listen, I understand what his role is. I understand what his value to the team, not only like in their dynasty run, but still currently to this day, his chemistry with Steph and what he has in the playmaking and defensive department. I completely understand why Draymond is still on the team in that sense. But the fact that there's a guy on your team that causes the most drama out of anybody else in the NBA, constantly in the news for something, physical altercations, mostly physical altercations, actually, now that I think about it. And yeah, a lot of people blame Draymond for driving KD out of town. Everybody blames Draymond for getting Jordan Poole out of Golden State. So I just think the fact that you've done all this trying to retool with all these different role players, and you didn't trade either Clay nor Draymond at the right time. You trade Clay as soon as he starts to become a little bit disgruntled with y'all, and Draymond Green is still here when Jordan Poole is not. So I think that's really where the issues start from, like literally right there. Like after that happened, I feel like everything's just been going downhill for Golden State. I'd love to see Steph Curry play with a better player. They had opportunities even this offseason to upgrade their roster, bring in some stars. They didn't do it. They valued Brandon Podziemski very high. They valued Kuminga very high. They valued Moses Moody very high. And I understand valuing your young players high, but I don't know, man. And Steve Kerr said something like, it would be stupid to throw away your future to try and get a championship right now. And I completely disagree with that. For the sole reason of Steph Curry's don't come around this often, dude. If Steph Curry is still playing at a superstar level, which you can argue if he's still doing that this season, right? But my rebuttal to that would be, he don't got nobody to play with. You don't have nobody to pass to. You know how easy it is to guard somebody if you can just literally double team them every game, more or less? Like, there's not really another super duper threat on that team. I would let anybody else on that team beat me. Seriously, like, if Kuminga's going to beat me tonight, Kuminga's going to beat me. If Moses Moody's going to beat me tonight, or Andrew Wiggins is going to beat me tonight, you're just going to have to beat me like that. I'm not going to let Steph go off and drop 35 on me. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure he stays at 21 on some efficiency, and that's going to be our game plan. So I just feel like if you have a player like Steph Curry, right, there's no reason why you should be conservative with your roster. Especially considering I don't think any of the young players on Golden State's roster are like all that. I think Kuminga's nice. I think he could be like a 20 point per game scorer at some point. Outside of that, your young pieces are not super duper crazy. It's not like you're trading away like a Franz Wagner or Paolo, because if that was the case, y'all probably wouldn't be in this situation. So I'm just not too sure how, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand the sentiment. Like, why would you trade all of our young assets away for a chance to win something now when our dynasty core is really old and they're on the way out. I can understand that on a surface level. But honestly speaking, do you know how easy it is to turn around your situation if everything fails? It's really not that bad. It's not. If you look at, situation might be a little bit different since they got to trade away the assets, but look at the Brooklyn Nets. They went from James Harden, Kyrie, and KD. In this season, they got Cam Thomas and Ben Simmons and all them, and hella picks. They literally turned their team from, okay, we got these superstars, we trade them away, now we got nothing, and now we have a plethora of picks. We've traded this player for this player, traded KD for McCall, then traded McCall for all these picks. So now you got the KD picks, you got the McCall picks. They didn't really get nothing for Kyrie, but you know what I'm saying? You can turn your team around. You can rebuild a roster. I think it's much better, especially in the NBA, to at least go for broke if you're going to be in this no man's land area, because this is not helping y'all. You're not getting draft picks right now. You're not winning games right now. And it's not, I just don't see why you have Steph Curry here wanting to win every night and you overtly say, hey, I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to make any moves to try and get you some guys, bro. Like, we got to keep the young pieces here for when you're gone. Like, I don't really agree with that. And if the season continues to go like this and the Warriors end up being out of the play-in, I really do think it might be time to panic if you're a Warriors fan, because there's a lot of things that I've seen in the NBA, and Steph Curry being disgruntled is not one of those things. It's just not. I haven't seen Steph Curry well, that's a lie. I've seen him be disgruntled, but not really. Like, he was mad because they were losing. I can't even remember what season this was, but they were horrible. And then he broke his hand. I think it might have been the 21 season. I want to say the 21 season. The Warriors didn't do anything, and then they got James Wiseman, and yeah. But I've never seen Steph Curry truly like vocalize being disgruntled as much as he's done this past summer and this season. So it might be time. It might be around that time for the Warriors fans to panic. Let me look at the East. A good team to do would low-key be the Sixers, but I talk about the Sixers a lot. Is it time to panic for the Heat? Is it time to panic for the Heat? Probably not. To be fair, I think this team severely overachieved from start to finish. As soon as Jimmy Butler got there to today, this team has overachieved severely. I never thought they were a team. I thought they were dark horse at best, and they've made the finals twice in the last 5 years. So that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. They've gotten some crazy playoff performances. So at the end of the day, no matter what happens to this roster and what happens to Jimmy, I don't think that they're going to be in a bad position. I don't think Jimmy is even going to get traded, to be honest. I think his contract is huge, and it's going to take a lot to get him off of that team. There's going to have to be a team that matches the contract, and then there's going to have to be an offer that Pat Riley likes, because I don't think he's just going to trade Jimmy for a bag of chips. I think he'd rather just let him walk at that point and try to like test his luck. Like, you really gonna not accept this player option or what? So I think that's probably where this is gonna go. I think he's just gonna let the season ride out. If Jimmy walks, still have money on the books. But what do you do after that? Because I don't see the Heat competing for much this season. I think they might get a playoff spot. As of right now, they're a 500 team. They're 21-22, so a game away from being 500. 4-6 in their last 10. And yeah, they're just not great. They're just not great. And I don't think they've been great this entire season. I don't think they've been great. Last season, I didn't think they were great either. They got bounced in the first round. Jimmy was hurt, but I just don't think they've been a really good. The season before that, they weren't that good. They made the finals, but they really weren't that good. That was historic what they did in the playoffs. They have not been a good team these past couple seasons. So I'm not really mad about them trying to move on, and Jimmy also trying to move on. What I'm more concerned about is what will happen after that. Obviously, it's kind of hard to predict what you'd get, you know what I'm saying? Like in terms of draft capital or players, unless you go into a bunch of trade machines and find rumors. But a lot of the Jimmy Butler trade rumors suck. Like Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal. That helps the Suns out a lot. That doesn't do anything for the Heat at all. It does nothing for them. Why would I trade for Bradley Beal, who's a regress scorer, who's injury prone, who's making just as much money as Jimmy Butler, when I have Tyler Hero here, who's a better player? He's going to be on the court more. He has more playoff experience at this point. Why would I trade for Bradley Beal? Like on a serious note. So I don't see a ton of routes to get Jimmy off that team, and I'm not sure what they would get back. I feel like the Heat as a front office have been super stuck. They haven't done anything, and that's part of the reason why Jimmy even wants to leave in the first place. And I think it's crazy that they're kind of like pushing back on him for wanting them to get better players when they've more or less had the same roster and switching out role players for forever. Yeah. They brought in, I mean, I'll give them some credit for bringing in Terry Rozier last year, but once again, that's role player stuff. Like, you need to have a player that's a little better than that. Obviously not like superstar tier, maybe not even all-star tier, but we need like a really good level starter that's really going to move the needle, make us a lot better. Like, I'm trying to think of an example, like the PJ Washington trade for the Mavs completely changed our team. Or Daniel Gafford completely changed our team. Those are high-level starters. They need to look for something like that in some of the positions that they're weaker at. Maybe power forward, maybe point guard. But it's just not. I don't really believe in this front office to make the necessary moves for them to be good if Jimmy Butler leaves, to be frank. I don't think this team is going to be good without Jimmy. I assume that Bam was going to take a little bit of a leap, and he just hasn't, which is really disappointing. Especially watching him in the Olympics, I thought like, oh, Bam's handling the ball a lot more. He looks really confident. He's shooting the threes and they're falling. And then we come back to the States and 3-point line gets moved back a little bit, a couple of feet. And this guy is a brick machine. 28% from 3. He's averaging like 16 points per game. His defense doesn't look as stout to me this season. I'm just overall pretty disappointed in how Bam's been playing, especially since if Jimmy's gone, this is Bam's team, right? I don't think that, obviously Tyler Hero is still going to get touches. He's still their offensive guy, but this is Bam's team. I want Bam to be better offensively, and I feel like he has the tools to do so, but the aggressiveness is just not there. Sometimes the decision making isn't there. Like he'll have a wide open mid-range jump shot and he'll seriously pass that up. He'll have a wide open, pretty much just flipping it up into the rim, and he'll pass it up sometimes. So I just feel like Bam has to be not only more aggressive, but more accurate on the offensive side of the ball for them to really go anywhere, especially if Jimmy's not going to be there. That's a giant hole that you have to fill, and that's a lot of production that your other players are going to have to show up for. So is it time to panic for Miami? Probably. Depending on how you look at it. I feel like from where I'm sitting, you guys overachieved. And I feel like we all kind of knew that this experiment was coming to an end at some point, and it's almost here. So I wouldn't be disappointed with what happened throughout the past couple of years for this team. Severely overachieved. They went crazy in the playoffs year after year after year. And I'd really be happy with the success that they had. Just a little confused about where to go for the future, because I think the routes are a little foggy. I'm not sure exactly where they go, but you know what I'm saying? They'll figure it out. Maybe. Or maybe they won't. Who knows? I also want to look at some All-Star stuff. I'm about to pull that up right now because the All-Star teams just got announced like yesterday. So we got Steph Curry, KD, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, LeBron, and Jokic. I'm not mad at this. The only thing that I would say is that I'm not sure if Steph Curry deserves to be a starter. Like I said, Steph Curry is not having like a crazy superstar season this year, so I'm not sure if he deserves to be a starter. But this is voting. So there's no way that 1, 2, and actually, oh, I'm bugging. He's right there. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. There's no shot that these 3 are not gonna be all-star starters until they retire, and that's just a fact. I think the same could probably be said for Giannis, unless we see some crazy regression from Giannis. But the fan favorite players are they're shoo-in. Like, you can't. There's no way that they were gonna have this happen. And Steph Curry was not starting, especially since Luka's hurt. If Luka was here, might be a little more competition between Luka, Steph, and Shea, but I feel like Shea's having a crazy year. And if Luka was here, he'd be averaging like 29, 8, and 8. So it would be pretty up in the air at that point. But yeah. Who would I rather have in that spot over Steph is really the question. Based on this season, obviously. I wouldn't be mad at Kyrie being in that spot, to be honest, averaging a couple more points, a little more efficient. Team's doing a little better, even with everything that's going on with Luka obviously not playing. I wouldn't be mad at a De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has been having a very underrated season this year. Outside of that, yeah, I'm not really mad at it. To be honest. A lot of the point guards out west are kind of averaging around the same stuff. So, and then we got Steph Curry, who's a legend. So we take the legend. Now in the East, something that I think is very interesting, but I don't really know how to feel about it, is LaMelo Ball not starting, because this is a weird situation. We got Jalen Brunson, top team in the East. JB's putting up like 25 points a game. Donovan Mitchell is really where it gets iffy. Obviously, they're the number 1 seed in the entire NBA. But D-Mitch is only averaging like 21 points a game. That's like his lowest points per game since his rookie year. And he's literally starting because he's a superstar on the best team in the NBA, and he's the best player on that team. And I can see that. But LaMelo Ball is literally averaging more like everything than both of these guys, which, let me just read these stats out real quick. LaMelo Ball, he's averaging 29 points, 5.4 rebounds, 7.5 assists. So it's just interesting to me that LaMelo doesn't get one of these spots, especially since LaMelo is really popular too. I would expect him to get a lot of votes. Literally, KD is KD. So I don't think Wemby gonna outdo. Yeah, I don't think Wemby's gonna outdo KD. Not in year 2. Maybe next year or the year after. And then Jokic, probably best player in the league. So, but yeah, you see LaMelo Ball right here. Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson are not that high in the fan vote. Kyrie is a little low. I'd like for Kyrie to be a little bit higher, but this is still all-star. Now that I'm really thinking about it too, Damian Lillard is cooking this season. Wait a minute. Dame is actually averaging like 25, 26 points per game. And I know that off the dome because I said before the season started, if they want to win, Dame got to average 25, 26 points a game. And he is 25, 4.5, and 7.2. So that's another interesting one, low key. It's a very interesting one. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be mad if Dame was starting, but he's not. Jaylen Brown, Şengün, Anthony Edwards is kind of low. Honestly, I expected him to be higher. I feel like the hype is dying down just a little bit for Anthony Edwards, because bro's team got a lot worse this year. Let me see. This is the media voting. So the media voting had Donovan Mitchell all the way up here, Jalen Brunson all the way up here, and LaMelo Ball's not here. That's bad. That's not bad. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And I'm not going to lie, respectfully, he's my favorite player. Luka Doncic played 22 games this season. Why is he here? Why y'all wasting votes on Luka when he not going to play? Like, that's for the fans to do. When y'all got the media vote, y'all got to be dead serious, bro. Matter of fact, how many games has LaMelo played this year? 29? That's not great either. It's not great either. But regardless, word. I need y'all to tee up. Like, who else? That's pretty much it. Luka is the only player that's like been hurt for the majority of the season that's on this list here. He's just that nice. Simple. He's just that nice. Also, Giannis is number 1. Huh. You know, I would not have expected Giannis to be 1 on fan and media voting. Jason Tatum is 2 on media voting. That's a little bit nasty. Just a little bit. I mean, he's 3 in fan voting, so maybe not. And then player voting, we got Giannis is still first. Wow, Giannis like swept the board. So player voting, we have LaMelo. We have LaMelo on the player voting, and we have LaMelo on the fan voting. And then for the media, there's no LaMelo here. There's also no Kyrie Irving on the media voting. I don't like that. In terms of Western Conference guards, we got Shea, we got Steph, we got AE, and Kyrie. So if that's really how it worked out, I would be okay with that. Another player we haven't seen anywhere on any of these is Devin Booker, which I think is a little surprising. D-Book's played 38 games, averaged 25 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. I don't think he should just not be mentioned here at all. Like, low key. No, he's in the West, so he wouldn't start. But he should be somewhere up there for sure. If D-Book didn't make an All-Star game, that would be a crazy snub. Now that I'm going through all this, I kind of do want to see who they have down as snubs, even though it's just the starters. Despite Durant made it, despite slipping to 3rd in fan voting. What? I expected the media and player vote to favor Wembanyama. Why would you expect the media or the player vote to go to Wemby? I'm not gonna lie, respectfully, KD's still hooping. KD is still averaging 27 points a game. So I don't know why you thought that. Who got snubbed? LaMelo Ball. Yeah, that's very interesting. Like I said, LaMelo, he was like the first Eastern Conference guard on the list, right? Yeah, for the fan voting. So the fans were jacking it, but he ain't make it. LaMelo Ball. I don't think Cade got snubbed. I think Cade is a great player. Cade is really, really good, but I just feel like his efficiency is like bad, and his turnovers are like really bad. LaMelo's turnovers are kind of bad too, but there's a big gap between their scoring. There's also a big gap between their team records, what their teams are doing too. So that might be why. But word, LaMelo's almost averaging like 30 and 10, and that's definitely starter worthy in my opinion. But they did the same thing to Trae Young way back when. They said Wembanyama got snubbed. I really honestly don't think he did. Could Wembanyama have been tabbed as starter? I'm not sure. The answer is 100% yes, and his day will come. But his first half of the season has been so electric. No, like I genuinely don't think that Wembanyama should be called a snub. I don't think that's, because you honestly have to say over who, snubbed over who. You said KD. One of these analysts said KD. But nah, I don't think he got snubbed. I don't think he got snubbed at all. I wanted to talk about Rivals Week too. Like, how do y'all even feel about NBA Rivals Week? I feel like it's a good idea in concept, and some of the games are really fun, but not all of them. Like, some of them are just like, is this even a rival team? Why is some of them, it's like, are these even rival teams? Like, I don't think like the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, like it's not a rival team. We got New York versus the Brooklyn Nets. Nobody cares about this, respectfully. Like, I understand the intercity, like the battle for New York type deal, but it would have been fun if the Nets were good, but they're not. So this is nothing. This is literally nothing. Philly versus Denver would be super fun, and I think that this one makes sense if Joel Embiid wasn't a certified troll. This guy does not play basketball games, so I don't think he's played in Denver since like 2019, 2018. So there's really nothing there, because the whole allure of this would be the center duel, and the 76er center does not show up for these. This Timberwolves and the Mavericks, this is warranted. Luka didn't play, so it didn't really live up to that hype. It was still an okay game, but yeah, this one makes sense. Golden State versus Sacramento makes perfect sense, absolutely perfect sense, and I appreciate that the NBA realizes how good these games are every time they play each other. I still wouldn't call it rivalry, but they definitely go at each other every time they play. They fill up the stat sheets for sure. Miami versus Milwaukee, I just don't think so. I don't think so. Like, this was a narrative back in like, I mean, I guess they beat them when they went to the finals, right? This was more of a narrative when the 2020s first started, to be honest. I don't really see these teams as rivals, to be honest. Then we got the Celtics and the Lakers. This is just like a legacy rivalry thing. There's nothing between these two teams besides the fact that they have the most chips total, and they've been rivals for years. There's nothing there. Like, these teams are not even on the same like wavelength. Like, they're just not. That's not a rivalry. New Orleans Pelicans versus the Grizzlies. This is not a rivalry at all. Like, at all. Like, I don't even see what they're trying to do here. Are they trying to do like Zion Ja? Because I'm not really a big fan. I'm not moved. Not impressed by that at all. Then we got Denver, Minnesota. Once again, I wouldn't call that a rivalry. They had a really good series in the playoffs last year, but I wouldn't call that a rivalry. Then we got Boston versus Dallas. I wouldn't call this a rivalry either. They whooped our ass in the finals. Whooped our ass. It was 4-1. I wouldn't call that a rivalry either. And then they got the Lakers and Golden State, which makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. The only ones that make perfect sense are the Golden State Warriors ones. And a lot of these are pretty questionable. I think Rivals Week, it's probably still going to be fun, but I don't know, man. They actually do have the reasons why they're rivals. NYC bragging rights, like I said. Jokic and Embiid, like I said. Rematch of the Western Conference Finals. And honestly, I can see like why this would be like a rivalry, but we also whooped their ass in 5 games last year, so I wouldn't call that a rivalry much either. I don't think there's a lot of bad blood there either. Like, I really don't. It's probably just because Edwards said he was going to guard Kyrie, so that put a lot of heat on the series. But yeah, this one, yes. The Bucks and Heat have met in 3 of the last 5 NBA playoffs. The first round, 23, 21, and 20. So, yeah. This one doesn't really count because Giannis was hurt for most of it. Jimmy did still go off, and they had an opportunity to win when Giannis did come back. But this one is a little ass tricky. This one, they absolutely fried them. In 2020, crazy. I was not expecting that. And then 2021 was a championship year. So, yeah, this is not, I wouldn't say this is a rivalry team. See what y'all was trying to do, but it's a little bit of a reach. Because not for nothing, we're in 2025 right now. This feels so long ago already. 2020 and 2021. To the point where it's like these narratives aren't even like there anymore. The Celtics hold the 18-17 edge. Yeah, they're just talking about the finals, their finals rings. That's all they got. Yep, this one, Zion and Ja. This would be their first meeting since December 2023, and they will break a 4-4 tie that they have in head-to-head matchups. What about that says we're rivals though? Like, nah, not a big fan. Not a big fan. This one is just about their playoff series last year. This one is about the finals, and this is Bron and Steph. So, pretty much I was accurate with what I thought they were going for with a lot of these, and I'm not a big fan. I'm about to go to the standings and see what would be better. Like, Knicks Hawks not being there is criminal. Wait. Let me go back. You have the Knicks on rival week once, and it's against the Nets. Knicks Hawks should have been done. Respectfully, Knicks Hawks should have been done. Word. Or at least Knicks Pacers. That's one of the playoff series last year where there was something to it for sure. You didn't do these? Y'all bugging. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't know what the narrative would be for Bucks Celtics, but I would do that too. Word. Thunder Mavs. That was literally, they played yesterday, so it was during rivalry week, but it's not here. Like, it doesn't count as a rivals week matchup, which is weird. So I guess I give them a slide for that because they still scheduled the game during rivals week. But this Thunder Mavs is way more of a rivalry than this. That Thunder series last year, there was a lot of hard-nosed fouls, a lot of bad blood going on. It was really close. Even though it was only a 6-game series, it could have easily gone 7 if one more shot or one free throw goes in for OKC. And that was the hardest series that we went into in the playoffs, besides obviously losing to the Celtics. So, word, I would have done that easily. Nuggets Lakers. Are y'all kidding me? NBA, what are we doing? And I can see if you're like, this is not a rivalry, the Nuggets always win, and that's cool or whatever. But yeah, like, none of these are really hard rivalries. Like, you really do kind of have to cherry pick in order to make a lot of these matchups happen. Yeah, you do kind of have to just cherry pick a lot of these. So, you know what? I'll cut the NBA some slack for that. That's actually hard to do. Make rivalry week games. Because there's not a lot of rivalries in the NBA. Like, the couple ones, there's not a lot of concrete, this is 100% a rivalry teams. Like, there's just not. And we should bring that back, bro. We need more beef in the NBA, dog. Are there any, like, East-West crossover rivalry games? Like, or are they all same conference? I think these, Philly and Denver, and then Boston and LA, and I think the rest of them are all same conference. Yeah, I mean, what other ideas could you even do for that? Like, you could do finals matchups. Yeah, I don't know. You could have done Bucks Suns, I guess. Like I said, it's gonna be hard to do rivalry week stuff because the NBA is not in that position anymore. To be completely frank, it's just not. It would be fun. I feel like rivalry week kind of hit a little better last year for some reason. Some of these games have been fun though. I'd like to see the Lakers get a dub against the Celtics. That was cool. It didn't count as a rivalry game, but I'd love to see the Mavs get that win over the Thunder with no Luka again. Love to see that. But word. I don't really have too much else to talk about right now. We're gonna save the rest for future content. Videos coming out really soon. And I'll catch y'all in the next one.